One of my favorite foods is okra, and I think okra is one of those things where you like it or you don't, but I think that if you don't like it, you shouldn't give up on it, because what I'm going to do today may be able to change your mind. I'm going to make stir-fried okra, so I've got some vegetable oil in here, 2 tablespoons, and a clove of garlic that I browned a little bit. Then I removed the garlic because I just wanted to flavor it. To this, I'm going to add 2 carrots that I've sliced thinly, and 2 stalks of celery that I sliced thinly. These then get stir-fried, for 2 or 3 minutes, just until they're tender crisp. Now, the reason that I may be able to change your mind about okra is because we traditionally think of it as a Creole item. It's in gumbos and it's in Creole dishes. It's used as a thickener because the stuff in the middle is so slimy that it thickens up the gumbo and the stewed tomatoes and things. We also think of it fried. Now, you don't generally think of fried okra as slimy, and the reason is because it's cooked very fast. Frying is a very hot temperature, cooks it very quickly, and you don't get that slimy feel coming out of it. Also, the more you leave it intact or whole, the less it's going to be. So what you can do with okra is first look for that's no longer than 2 to 3 inches usually. And when the longer it gets, the more mature it gets, the more tough it gets. Push it in with your fingernail there, and if your fingernail finds it tender, it will be. Now, to that, you only need to remove the little skirt that may be there and then cut off the very top. The rest of it is edible and usable, and you don't want to waste it. Now, the more you leave it in one piece, as I said, the less likely that you're going to have slime to it. One of the interesting things about okra is that we don't have a lot of recipes, or we don't know a lot of recipes. The taste of okra is somewhere between that of an eggplant and an asparagus. So you can actually substitute okra in any recipe that calls for those dishes. And you may have to adjust the cooking time, but okra should be cooked as quickly as you can cook it. I've added to this 2 cups of okra. I've sliced it, about an inch or so long. Try to get it on the diagonal. Now, also to that, I'm going to add 2 summer squash, give or take. This is kind of a stir-fry dish that you're allowed to flex the ingredients, although I hope you won't flex the okra out, since that's what we're looking at here today. Also, a zucchini, sliced about the same thickness as the carrots and the asparagus, the carrots and the celery. A medium green pepper that I've chopped up. Notice it's getting pretty full now, so this may have to take a little bit longer to cook than you might think. You might want to try this in a larger skillet if you've got one. About a cup of mushrooms and half of a cup of onions. Now, this you then would let simmer, or stir fry, excuse me, for only about 4 minutes at the most. Then check it to see if it's crisp, tender, and when it is, then you add 4 teaspoons of soy sauce to it, and it'll be done. Now, okra, as I said, can be substituted for other things, and it gives those dishes an interesting flavor. Another thing that you might want to try, if you're really daring, is to blanch it just until it's very, very tender, just to kind of get the raw taste out of it. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Immerse it in ice water for at least that long, and then serve it with carrot sticks and celery sticks and other kinds of fresh vegetables on a vegetable tray. With a dip, and I think you'll surprise people. I think they'll find that it's surprisingly interesting. Now, okra itself is not one of the really high nutrition items in most respects. However, it is a very good source of folacin, and it has almost half of the folacin that a woman would need for a day. Okra does not keep very long in your refrigerator, so you should try and harvest it or buy it within a day or 2 of when you plan to use it. If you have extra, it can be frozen. However, it does not freeze particularly well with breading on it. So it does need to be blanched, and then go ahead and submerge it in ice water, and then pack it in freezer containers. Well, in the interest of saving time here, I'm going to show you the other dish that I made with okra. Now, this is one where we don't want it to be thick and slimy and that kind of thing, and so we're cooking it very quickly. However, traditionally, as in fish gumbo, we do want to have that thickening here, so we add the okra early on. One of the things you can do with gumbo, if you like a crisper okra in there, is cook part of it ahead of time so it thickens it, and then add a little bit extra of the okra or a little bit more okra in the last 5 or 10 minutes of cooking. And you can do that with other soups and stews too. Chicken and rice, that's a real nice thing to do with that as well. And it looks like this is about ready for the soy sauce, since we just wanted it to get tender. Stir that together a little bit to blend the flavors. And I think you're going to find that if you've got people in your house that are not fond of okra, and they're willing to try something a little bit different and new, this could be the dish that will change their mind once and for all and turn them into okra lovers. For Oklahoma Gardening, this is Barbara Brown.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.